Hello, my sewing friends. This is Diana, the Wandering Sewist. This is my first live stream. I decided to try and get on a little bit early because I wasn't sure exactly how to do the technology. So I decided to go ahead and try to get on a few minutes early just in case there was any sort of a problem. So Grizzy Sue. Gizzy Sue. Hi, Gizzy Sue. Diana, I love your show and wish I still had a sewing machine. You know, they're not that expensive. You can find them secondhand on Facebook Marketplace all the time. So welcome. So what we're doing today is we are making the Faithwell storage bins from So Sweetness. So this is the small size with my hand. So it's, I don't have big hands. So it's a small size. And I have started with the medium size. Brittany says, have a good stream, Diana. You are awesome. Aw, thank you, Brittany. That's very sweet. Man, you just made my day. Okay, so for the Faithwell storage bin, you have to first of all cut your fabric and your words are so hard. Your interfacing. So for my exterior fabric, I am using some really pretty words are hard. Sunflowers that I have had sitting around for just decades. And I thought it was time that they had a purpose. So I am, this is the exterior of the medium size one. Now it is a free pattern. You can just download it for free. I don't know if I should give the measurements, even though the pattern is free. I think you should go to her website and look at the measurements, because I don't think it's fair of me to read out the measurements, So the first step is, of course, to put the interfacing on. So this is my exterior, and it has the Biani Soft and Stable foam on the exterior. I had to throw my pieces on the floor because my table's too small. And this is my interior. Now, this is an old bed sheet that I'm repurposing. I used it's one of those, the fitted bed sheets, the twin size. And I used the elastic in my Avenir jumpsuit for the waistband. And now I am using the sheet, had to cut around some holes and some stains and things. But this will be the lining. And then this is the bottom, the exterior bottom, and the bottom exterior lining. And this is has fusible interfacing. It's the SF101. All right. So the first step after you get your interfacing on is to take your exterior piece and take the top and fold over the top by 1/4 inch and press it down. So I just pressed it with a bunch of steam, and then I used my clapper and just put that on there and held it down, and that's why it's staying like that. So I just found something I forgot to trim off. I sewed my my sew-in foam with a little extra. I just need to trim that off. I'll be right with you. Just a second. Trim. Oh, that looks like the dog's dinner. Let me tell you. Let me just do a better job. Now it looks like the cat's dinner. Okay. That's trimmed off. So next, after you fold over and press down the 1/4 inch on the top of your exterior, Let me just look at the instructions. Then you take your template for your handle, and when you print it out, this will not be cut out. So you need to cut out this hole for your template for your handle. So you take this, you fold the lining main panel in half so that both short ends meet and mark the center. And also fold the paper handle template in half and crease the center. So again, that is fold the lining main panel in half. Lining main panel. That's this one. So fold your lining main panel in half and mark the center. When I mark centers, I usually just do a tiny little notch right off the corner there. And it gets my center, gives me a little notch for the center. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. Then you take your template and you fold that so you have a center for that as well. Then you align the center of the handle template with the center of the wrong side of the lining main panel with the top raw edges aligned. All right. So the wrong side is the side with the interfacing on. And the right side is your fabric side. So wrong side, top, and I line up the center here with the center mark I just made on the wrong side, lining up the raw edges like so. I'm going to be coughing because I'm a little bit poorly. I have a little bit of a cough, so I have what they've been calling the 100-day cough. So it's nothing serious. It's just a cough. Okay. Then you draw the oval on the wrong side of the fabric. This will be your stitching line. Okay. So I need to draw. Okay. I moved everything over by my machine except for a pencil. So it's just, I can see them just right there on the other table. Bear with, I'll be right back. My little marking utensils bin. So I'm going to use this is water erasable. So I'm going to line those back up. And I'm just going to trace through that oval. That's the handle center onto the wrong side here. All right. So there's that done. See my little oval? Okay. That's going to be my stitching line. So we're going to do a little magic. So if you've never sewn, this is the same method that they use for welt pockets and for, on your purses, when you have in the inside lining of your purse, you have a little zipper on the side, and then you open it and there's a little pouch in the back. So this is the same way that is done as well. Okay, so now we're going to place the exterior main panel and the lining main panel right sides together. And we're going to stitch the oval stitching line directly on top of the lines. So here's my exterior main panel right side. This is the top. And here is my lining main panel right side. So I'm putting them right sides together. Bear with the cough. Sorry about that. And then I'm keeping an eye on the chat to see if there's anybody there talking to me. Nobody's saying anything. So I'm just going to, now this is folded down, so I just need to unfold it so I can make sure that everything's lined up properly. Because you want your lining all the way up the top, right? Okay, so this is lined up nicely. Now I'm just going to stick a couple pins in it to hold it down. Wouldn't you know? I see my pin cushion over there. I tell you, it's one of those days. We are getting ready to leave tomorrow morning to go to England to visit a sick friend. And it's just been a crazy day and trying to get a family to go for 2 weeks across the country because we're going to drive from Prague all the way to England. KGFL Creation says, hi, Diane. Hi, KGFL Creations. Nice to see you. Welcome to my live stream. This is my very first one. I need my pins so I can pin this together, and they're over there on that table. So I'm just going to whiz over there and whiz right back. I have a tomato. Okay, so I just need to get this line back up because I moved it. Make sure that's lined up there. That's lined up there. All right. Now I'm just going to put some pins around the outside of the oval so that my fabric doesn't walk when I put it under my needle, because then you get tucks and messiness, and that's just not attractive. So I'm just putting some pins around, and I have a confession to make. I am an overpinner. Take a look. Probably too many pins, but too many is better than not enough. Make me ghost face for you says Prague is beautiful. Yes, it is very beautiful. My sister was married there. Ooh, did she get married in a castle? There are so many beautiful castles around that they rent out for wedding venues. It's so beautiful. Sorry. Don't be scared. Let me just take a drink of my squash. This is raspberry. Very good. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go over here to my Juki. See my Juki? This Juki is the best. This is the best machine. It only does straight stitch front and back. That's it, but it's very powerful. So I'm just gonna quickly sew this oval. Okie dokie. Oh, I got to catch up with the chat. Let's see. Make me go face for you says she did. Oh, that must have made some amazing pictures. KGFL Creation says, I searched for the pattern and download it, but I don't have the materials to make one. That's okay. You know, you can just watch, and then when you go to make your own, it'll be super easy because you'll know exactly what to do. And make me ghost face for you says Lubaka Castle. That's not one I've been to. I'm gonna have to look that one up and check it out. KGFL Creation says I pin like crazy too. Oh, yes. And Make Me Go Face for You says you've inspired me to get my machine out. It's been a while. Oh, yes, 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 yes. You just, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I do this, because having a creative hobby is very therapeutic. It's really, really good for you. And you'll be amazed at how much better you will feel overall with your mental health, your physical health, spiritual health, everything. It really does help having a creative hobby. You will love it. You will love it. Okay. So, place the exterior main panel line panel right sides together. Stitch the oval stitching line directly on top of the lines. There we go. Got that. And then cut the inner oval 1/4 inch away from the stitching line and notch the seam. Okay, so I'm going to take the pins out so I don't stab myself. That's probably a good idea. All right. Oh, I should cut these threads. I'm terrible. If I don't cut the threads right away, they will never get cut. I have things that I made months and months ago that I forgot to cut the threads off right away, and the threads are still dangling because I keep forgetting to cut the threads. I don't know. Terrible. I'm terrible. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I need to cut this hole open, this oval. So I'm just going to fold it in the center and make a snip with my scissors. And then I'm just going to cut around the inside about 1/4 inch away from my stitching line. Well, maybe 1/8 in one place. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to be folded through and you'll never even see it. It'll be covered up. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Besides that, you know what I learned from Jenny from Missouri Star Quilt Company? I learned that finished is better than perfect. She's right. Okay, so I cut my hole. So there's the hole. Next, I think we're going to turn it through. Oh, I have to notch. Since this is a curve, you need to cut little notches in, and so that when you pull the fabric through the hole, you're going to pull the lining through to the other side. When you pull it through, it's going to create stress there and you'll get lumpy stuff. So if you just snip in, but do not cut your stitching. Snip up to, but not through your stitches, just around the curve, so that the foam especially can spread out and it will look much neater. And when you press it, it'll press flat. So just snip, 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 but not through the stitches. Be very careful. Do not snip through your stitches, because then you have to go back and redo the sewing. I mean, that's not the end of the world. You just have to sew it again, right over where you snipped it. But, you know, it's all the fiddly stuff that makes us frustrated with our projects, right? All right, so I'm almost all the way around. I have arthritis, guys, in my right hand, and these are supposed to be spring-loaded scissors. You see the spring? So it's supposed to make it easier to snip, but I don't know about that. All right. So the next step is to pull the lining through the exterior, through the oval, and then press it, and then we top stitch around the outside. So I just need to turn my little iron back on so I can press it. Okay. Make me go face for you is sharing all the love. Thank you so much. That's very sweet. All right, so now you're going to take your lining and you just push it through the hole that you cut. Pull it through to the back. All of it, all the way. So that the lining is now right side out, exterior, interior. And see, you have a little handle. I just need to press it. See how it's all lumpy and bumpy there? I'm going to press that out nice and flat. And I'm going to, while you're pressing, you just want to pull the lining back like that. So just a little bit of the exterior shows, and then press that really well, like this. Then you won't be able to see the lining through the exterior when it's sitting on your shelf. Giving it a good press. I'm going to use my clapper. Pulling the lining back to expose a little bit of the exterior. Just rolling that seam with my fingers a little bit and then pressing it down. This little iron is hot, man. Burning my fingers. I got this iron years and years ago when all I did was quilting, and it was very nice to have a little bitty iron right next to my machine so that when I was quilting, I didn't have to get up and walk over to the big ironing board. It's very convenient for when you just have a small thing to press and you don't have to worry about pressing the whole garment. Okay. Now that's nice and flat. And then on the exterior, you can't see any of the interior lining rolling through to the front. So I'm happy with that. All right, so next. We place the short ends of the exterior main panel right sides together. And we sew the short end, flatten the pressed edge to sew, and then press the seam open. Okay, so not the lining, just the exteriors. So I'm going to put the lining down and just put my exterior short ends together. And we are going to just sew these together. I think it's 1/4 inch seam allowance. Yeah, with 1/4 inch seam allowance. And this part is folded down, so I'm just going to unfold that, sew it, and then when I press it, I'll refold it back down. Okay, so I should be a very good example and clip this. See? I'm being a good example, and I'm gonna clip this together. Whereas if you weren't watching me, I just would have gone straight to the machine and sewed it. Bad habits. It's good that you're watching me. My sewing will be higher quality. Okay. So I have the short edges clipped together, and now I'm going to go to my machine and I'm going to sew this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I have my machine set up so that I can sew standing up. So if I sew like this, I feel like I'm still trying to sew like this. So I'm going to stand up. I hope you don't mind seeing my back for just a second. Goes through like butter. I love my Juki. My Juki is so wonderful. Okay, so now I have this sewn into a circle. So I just need to press this seam open so that it's flat, and then make sure that the top part that I folded down and pressed is refolded down and pressed. So I'm just going to lay this flat like this and press all this back out again. This is the fiddly bit. Just give me a minute. Stick my clapper in there to hold it open. Because a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance is not a lot. It is not a lot. I'm trying to hold that open. Whew. Especially with a super hot iron. Crazy. This top will open and back down. Press that. Clapper. Yeah, hold my clapper on that top part just to make sure that where the join is, that's going to fold down nicely. Let's see. We have Debbie Renee. What other sewing machine do you have for garment making? Yours is one of my favorite channels. Oh, Debbie, that is so sweet. Thank you. I actually have a Bernina 790 Plus with the embroidery module for garment making. And I got it because, you know, it costs as much as a car, really. It's a very expensive machine. But my mother passed away in October of 2021 and left me a little bit of money. So, and her caveat was that I had to buy something for myself that would make me happy. So that's what I did. I bought my Bernina 790 Plus. And little did I know that 5 months later, my life would fall apart and that Bernina 790 Plus would wind up saving me. I didn't know that, but it did. It did. All right. So I have, you know, it's not perfect, but it's going to be flat enough because it's going to be covered with the lining. All right. Make Me Ghost Face For You says, I was trying to think of who you remind me of, and it just came to me. Diane West. I loved her in Parenthood from the 80s. Oh, that's yes. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. And Debbie Renee says, how sweet of your mom. Yes, it really was. It really was. All right, so I have pressed it. And then it says to repeat that for the main lining panel. Okay, so I need to take the lining and sew it right sides together on this short end. And I'm going to be a very good example, and I'm going to pin it. Now, do you pin vertically like this, or do you pin long ways like this? I'm such a rebel. I pin long ways. I've been told by multiple people that that's wrong. But you know what? It's what works for me. It works for me, and I like it because I feel like I get more control over my seam that way. So I pin along the seam instead of across the seam. Okay, so I have my lining seam pinned, and I'm going to sew that with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. My foot was walking away. Dang it. Look, it didn't sew at all. Troubleshoot time. My needle came unthreaded. So you may know that I live in Prague. I live overseas, and my needle threader on my Juki is broken. And every time I take it in to get serviced, they say, "Oh, you have to order those parts from the United States, and then we'll put them on for you." It's like, really? Aren't you a dealer? Anyway, it's annoying. That's done it. Okay. Now I'm going to be a very bad example to speed this up a little bit. And I'm not going to pin it because I took the pins out when I thought I was sewing it before. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to go crazy. Ay, ay, ay. My thread broke. I was sewing too fast. Doesn't rain, but it pours, right? Let me catch up with the chat. Let's see. Make me ghost face for you. Yes, your mom sounds so sweet. My mom was sweet towards the end of her life when she had dementia. Dementia changes the personality of people. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Make me go ghost face for you says I pin the same way you do, and make me ghost face for you says, oh, you do? How wonderful. Ooh, how long have you lived there? In Prague right now, we've lived in Prague for 6 months since the end of July this year. Before that, we lived in South Africa. We lived in Pretoria, South Africa. This is hot. I'm just going to turn it off for a second while I chat at you. My husband has a job that requires that we move all around the world to different countries every 2 to 3 years. So we were in South Africa for almost 4 years, 3 years and 8 months. They gave us an extension because of our circumstances that happened last year. So we stayed a little bit longer, which was very kind of them. But then we moved here in July, and we will be here for 3 years. And then I hope, after our 3 years here, that I could call the traveling quits and go back home to Texas and move into my house that I've owned but never lived in. And it's my dream house. It's just sitting there waiting for me, and I want to live in it. And that's my dream. And I would love to do that. And just so all the time. So Do you enjoy living there? Well, yes and no. I haven't lived here very long. I usually give a country a good 6 months to a year before I decide if I like it or not, because it takes time to build up a community where you are, especially if you don't speak the local language. Now, I don't speak Czech. I really don't think I could possibly learn to speak Czech. Learning Russian was hard enough, and I was 10 years younger than I am now. And learning French has been difficult. I've been working on that one for 25 years. And, I just don't, Czech is not a world language, so I'm not motivated, and I have enough on my plate. And I was in a Czech class for a little while, but it was so hard to concentrate because of all the other stuff that I'm dealing with. If you know my story, then you know what I'm talking about. Then I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to stop going. Where are we with the chat? Debbie Renee says, what is your favorite country to live in? My favorite country I lived in so far. I would have to say South Africa, because everything's in English, which is amazing. And the wildlife is incredible. I mean, the city is right there, and then you drive an hour outside of the city and you can go to a safari park. It's pretty awesome. And cost of living there is pretty low. And no, it's not safe. It's not a safe place, but we didn't have to worry about that too much in the area we were in. So yeah, I would say South Africa, of the countries I've lived in and visited, was probably my favorite and the most beautiful. Other languages. Do you speak any other languages? I speak French, some. I'm not quite fluent yet. I have been working on it for 25 years, and I just don't know if I'm ever going to get there. I learned quite a bit of Russian when we lived in Moscow. We lived in Moscow for almost 2 years. And that helped us when we adopted our 3 youngest boys. We adopted them from Ukraine 5 years ago, from an orphanage in Ukraine. And they spoke Russian. So I had a basic understanding of Russian, and like basic phrases that I could say to them in Russian and they could say to me and I could understand them, so that they could get their basic needs met, and I could basically tell them what I wanted from them. And so it made the communication a lot easier as they were learning to speak English. Make Me Ghost For You says, I'll think happy thoughts for you and your dream house. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If I don't get to move back home after this tour in Prague, that will be in 2026. Then we will move to one more country after this one. It'll be our last tour because my husband will age out of the program, and then he can continue working, but he'll have to be based in the United States, because you can only go overseas until you're 65. After that, you gotta be based back in the US. So yeah, he's getting old. He's getting old. All right. I'm going to turn my back on you for a second since I caught up with the stream, and I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on with this little thing here. So I'm just going to rethread all the way from the beginning just to make sure that everything's correct. I'm using rainbow thread because the fabric has so many colors and I don't think it matters at all. So I'm going to start with a nice clean edge from the beginning. I'm going to stand up because I can see better. Can't see the needle with my glasses on. I know that's counterintuitive, but it's true. Ooh, first time. Woohoo! Okay. All right. Let's see if there's any more in the chat. Nope, I'm caught up in the chat. Okay, so I'm going to try this one more time. And I'm not going to go so fast this time. Maybe that was the problem. My machine has a bunny rabbit setting, and I usually sew all the way on the bunny rabbit setting. So I'm going to put it more towards turtle. I'm being a bad example. I didn't pin again. Oops. Okay, that's done it. That's done it. Finally, third time's the charm. Have my rainbow seam here. I try to incorporate rainbows as much as I can into everything I do. If you want to know why, just Google my name. That'll tell you the whole story. Don't do it now. Wait till after the stream because I don't want you crying on my live stream. I'm trying to keep this a happy place, okay? All right. So I need to now press this 1/4 of an inch seam open to the best of my ability. Sometimes I just get frustrated with the pressing the open of the 1/4 inches, and I just press them to the side and call it done because it's annoying. And I don't think there's any hard and fast rule about why it has to be pressed open other than that it sits more flat. But seriously, this is going to be on the inside of my bin, on the inside of a storage bin. Now, if I was making a handbag and it was an exterior seam of the handbag and it had like a curve shape like this or something, and I had to make sure that seam was like perfect, then yeah. I'm going to take my time and follow instructions. But this, no. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that was step 7. Done. Oh, I skipped part of it, but that's okay. That's okay. Because it says start at 1/4 of an inch and then veer towards a 1/2 inch in the middle and then back to 1/4 of an inch at the end. And that's to keep from having extra lining like sagging down the sides of your storage bin, which is it's what I have here. It's see, I have the lining is kind of sagging on the sides here. I mean, it's the inside of the storage bin. I don't really care. But if you don't like that saggy look, then what you do is when you first start sewing the seam, you start at 1/4 inch, you gradually go to a 1/2 inch until you get towards the bottom, and then you gradually go back to 1/4 of an inch when you get to the end. Okay, so that was step 7. Step 8. So now we need to work with we need to flatten the main panel so that the seam is on one end like this. and mark the opposite end with our fabric marker. We will be marking the wrong side of the fabric at both the top and the bottom, and bring the mark directly on top of the seam and mark. So we're marking the quarters. We're marking quarters. That's what we're doing. Sorry about the coughing. So here's my seam. I'm going to mark this halfway mark. Then I'm going to take my halfway mark that I marked here, and I am just going to match it up with the seam. And I'm going to mark this end, and that'll get me my equal quarters all the way around my circle. All right, that's done. Now, these will be known as quarter markings. There will be 4. Yeah. Also transfer the quarter markings from the bottom panel paper pattern piece to the wrong side of the exterior bottom panel. Sorry. So I need to do the same thing to the lining. I need to mark the quarters on the lining as well, on the bottom. So I have my quarter here. And then I need to match up my mark with the seam. And then mark these 2 quarters. Okay. Then you take your bottom pieces. So this is my exterior bottom and my lining bottom. And this is the pattern piece. So this pattern piece has, I need to make a mark down where the middle is. And then there's a line here I need to mark so that it will also be divided into perfect quarters. So I need to do that on my exterior panel and my lining panel. Just line up the circle and make the marks. Man, that cough sounds like I'm about to die, but I'm really okay. Okay, there's the exterior done. Which side is, yeah, this side. And now I do the interior. Okay, so mark that and that. Turn. I need to take a drink. Maybe that's what it is. Raspberry squash tastes yummy. Okay, this one and that one. Okay. Catch up with the chats. Still good. Still good. Okay. So I have the quarter markings on the bottom exterior. There's the little blue marks, and the bottom interior. Little blue marks. Okay. So next, move the exterior main panel out of the way so that you can pin the lining main panel right sides together with the bottom edge of the lining main panel, matching up quarter markings. Okay, so I know this looks funky. So here's my exterior and here's my interior. So this is the top here, and this is the bottom. So I'm going to take my lining and I'm going to match it up right sides together, starting at one of the blue marks and my seam, and I'm going to put a clip there to hold that. And then I'm going to go around the outside and I'm going to do all of the quarter marks. So that I can sew the bottom in. There's a quarter mark. There's a quarter mark. Match them up. Right sides together. That's the right side, isn't it? Oh, I did right side to wrong side. Ooh, I'm so glad I checked. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Where is my brain? Okay. There we go. So what do you guys do for employment? Is anybody fully employed? I am not. I am working part-time as a tutor. My previous life, before we moved overseas, I was a high school math teacher in Texas. And, when you live overseas, it's really hard to keep your certification active because I need 150 hours of continuing education. And that's really hard to do when you're overseas. I have a new comment here. KGFL Creation says, I missed a little losing power, internet flickering here in South Florida. We have a subtropical storm today. Lots of rain and wind. Oh, I remember my home is the Houston area and we get tropical storms there all the time. Actually, in June of 2001 was my wedding to my husband, and Tropical Storm Allison hit Houston and flooded the city. And I had this huge wedding planned, 400 guests. And the caterers couldn't make it through the floods. Most of the guests couldn't make it. So I only had like 70 people at my wedding. And my then fiance, now husband, ran to like a burger place and picked up like 100 hamburgers for us to have for our reception. Fun times. Okay, so let me double check the instructions here. Match up. It says pin, then sew the lining. Use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Trim the lining seam allowance to 1/4 inch. Okay, so I need to finish pinning this. And then I have to sew this one with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Sewing curves is not for the faint of heart, but it's all right. It will be fine. It will be fine. The nice thing about these curves is it's all bias cuts, so you can ease things in, KGFL Creation says, oh, OMG, these storms are always arriving at the wrong time. That's right. That's right. Yep. Yep. But my husband, he was worried that we wouldn't be able to have a wedding. And he was on the phone with our minister and he said, can you just marry us over the phone? I'm going to get married today, no matter what. Oh, and of course that melted my heart. It's so romantic. So romantic. KGFL Creations is sharing love. Thank you. bear with as I take my time to make sure that this is all eased through nicely and clipped together, so I don't get any tucks. Okay, that didn't ease nicely. Come on. There we go. There, that's much better. Sometimes you just talk to it right and it obeys. Okay. Getting there, we're getting there. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go over to the machine and I am not going to sew like this. I am going to sew upright like this. And I'm just going to lay the seam, lay the bottom flat on the bed of my machine and sew around like that. Okay, so I will be, hopefully this works. I turned it down to turtle so my thread won't break, I hope. I'm supposed to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance and I'm using 1/4. Oh well, I'm just going to continue. I'm getting really frustrated with the turtle. It's going way too slow. I'm going to turn it up just a bit. Just a little bit. I tell you what, people, this is just not my day. My thread broke again. Now this rainbow thread has been around a while. Maybe it's old. Let's catch up with the chat. Karen Lee says, hello, Diana, everyone. Hi. Hi, Karen Lee. How are you today? What time is it where you are? Where I am, it is 8:54 p.m. 8:54 p.m. Okay, so it didn't mess up my seam. I just have to rethread my machine again. I'm rethinking using this thread though. Wondering if I should switch to a better thread. Karen Lee says, sorry you are having trouble with the thread. Yeah. She says it's 2:55 p.m. Eastern in the USA, North Carolina. North Carolina. Have I been to North Carolina? No, never been to North Carolina. I hear it's beautiful, very green there, very pretty. I am in Prague in the Czech Republic. That's where I am. For now until June 2026. And then who knows where I'll be. I could be in China. I could be in South America. I could be in India. I could be back in Africa. I could be somewhere else in Europe. Maybe a Caribbean island. Maybe Indonesia or Australia. That'd be cool. Okay, back to my machine. What is this business? How many thread ends do I have here? That's why it wasn't broke. It was cut. Very suspicious. What is happening with my thread? This is suspicious. Yeah, it's all I don't know if this is even usable. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I had a backup. So, you know what I'm going to do with that thread with the thread cuts? It's just going to go. I got it in the trash can. Does that mean I get 2 points? I got a brand new one. Okay, so just have to find the end. In the end. Where are you? I feel it. Are you the end? Aha! Got it. Give me a fresh cut. Ay. Okay, ready to go. See if I can finish this. See if I have any new comments. I will pop in again. Okay. How is Christmas in Prague? You would not believe the Christmas markets in the old town. I have been ill, so I haven't been able to go out and take photos of them for you, unfortunately. But you could go just Google Christmas market Prague, and it's beautiful, just beautiful. You would love it. I personally don't celebrate Christmas, but everybody else does, and they're all enjoying the Christmas markets very much. Okay. Back to what I was doing. All right. Let's get this bottom sewn in. We're going to get there. It'll be fine. It will be fine. Almost done with this seam, finally. Woohoo! I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay. There we go. Close her up. All right. So there's the bottom sewn on. All right. So the next step is probably to do the same thing for the exterior. Pin and sew the lining. Repeat for the exterior. Wouldn't you know it? When I find the exterior, did you take it? Oh, never mind. On the floor. Okay, so so this is the top because that's where the handle is. So this is the bottom. And I had my quarter marks. Remember when I made my quarter marks? So I just need to take the right side to the right side like this. See, right sides together. Match up my quarter marks and then clip it all the way around and sew it. And hopefully I won't have problems with my threads this time. And you'll be able to see what it looks like without a bunch of fiddling around. See, when I made this, the first one in practice, it was easy. It was so easy. I was like, oh, this would be a perfect thing to do for my first live because this is a very easy project. Famous last words, right? Famous last words. Why is it in life whenever you think, oh, this isn't going to take very long, it'll be super easy, bing, bang, done, and I can move on. And then you get started and it takes 10 times longer than you expected. Why? Why does that happen? Very frustrating. Okay, I know this one is 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just clipping all the way around. Not too many clips because I need to do the easing because it's a curve. But just to keep me going on the straight. Make sure it's all lined up properly. And then again, I'm not going to go like a sleeve or anything. I'm going to take, and I'm going to put it like this on the bed of my machine. And I'm just going to put it like this. Hang on. Put it like this. And the seam here will be flat against my machine. See this seam here? And I'll just sew around like that. But I will start and stop at the side seam because I don't know. I just do. No new comments. Okay, let's do it. So far, so good. No thread problems just now. Keep your fingers crossed. Oop. A runaway nose. Okay, almost around. Getting there. The trick is with these bins is to just be patient and line it up, sew a little bit, line it up, sew a little bit, line it up, sew a little bit. Just be patient as you go around and line up a couple inches worth, sew it, and keep doing that as you go around. Okay, I just realized I forgot to top stitch the handle. I just need to do that really quickly. Although, yeah, I'm just gonna skip it. It doesn't have to. I don't have to. Okay, so many threads. So many. Okay, we're almost done. Does it look funny? So I have my lining and my exterior, and they're attached at the handle. Okay, so magic time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to place the exterior and the lining wrong sides together with the exterior facing the right side out. Line up the quarter markings. Align the pressed edges at the top of the storage bin, then pin into place. Top stitch the top edge of the storage bin using 1/8 of an inch. So I need to turn my exterior right side out. Cute. Oh, so cute. And I'm going to stuff the lining inside. And all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to line up all the way around and fold this fold it over, right? Align the pressed edges at the top of the storage bin, then pin into place. Top stitch the top edge of the storage bin. All right. You know what I forgot to do? Oopsie. I forgot to press under the lining 1/4 of an inch as well, because you're supposed to line up those. So I'm just going to, it's thin, I'm just going to finger press it. So since the top is, the exterior is folded under 1/4 of an inch, see? Then you fold the interior under 1/4 of an inch to go the opposite way, like this. And then we're going to sew them together. See, here's the fold for the interior and the fold for the exterior. And you just put them together, and then we're going to sew around the outside, top stitching them down. So, and this will be the medium. This is the medium. So here's the small, and here's the medium. It's already getting so big. The medium is already so much bigger that I'm having trouble holding it. And the large, compared to this one, is even bigger. So I'm going to cheat a little bit, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finger press under the lining and the exterior, pinch them together, and then clip it. It's, you know, it's just fabric. It's not the end of the world if it's not exact. As long as you're happy with what you have made, that's what counts. And as long as my lining and my exterior I don't have like visible fraying points where it'll drive me nuts to see little fray spots, I'm okay with it. So that I've done a little bit of it. I've just folded this under that way, and this one was already folded, and I'm just clipping it. And we could chat while I do this. And then guess what? I just top stitch around the outside edge, and this is done. That's it. That's all there is to this. It really is easy. I made it look hard because my machine was having trouble with the thread, but that was me. That wasn't the pattern. Now, if you haven't heard of Sew Sweetness, Sarah Lawson is the designer. She has a YouTube channel where she talks about bag making, and it's called Social Sunday, Sew spelled S-E-W, Social Sunday. And she is a very nice person. She and her husband do the channel together. And she is a very positive type of person, and she has an upbeat, kind space on the internet that I just really appreciate more now than I ever have before in my life. Let's catch up with the chat. Oops, that was supposed to go. Oops. Okay. Oh, cute. Oh, so make me Make me ghost face for you says, ooh, cute. Thank you. You meant this? Oh, it's all right. That's my attempt at humor. Make me go face for you says, on highway. Are you driving? That's pretty dangerous. Oops, that was supposed to go to my friend. Oops. How can you possibly be driving and watching a YouTube channel? I would never trust myself to do that. You know, the driving in South Africa. Wow. I got in 2 accidents in that country because the taxis are crazy. Crazy there. They do not obey traffic laws. Make me goes face for you says, no, my guy is. Oh, yeah. My husband does all the driving when we're together because I like to sleep. And for some reason, when he's driving in the car, I get super, super sleepy. I guess I don't know. I get relaxed. So on our drive from here, from Prague to England, he's going to do all the driving. And we are going to stay the night in Brussels tomorrow night. Well, not in Brussels, like, around Brussels, in a little hotel motel thing along the highway there. And then we will, we're going to take the ferry across the English Channel, I think from Calais, possibly. Depends. And then we will be in England Monday evening. Yeah. Be at my friend's house. Now, the plan has been for us to stay for 2 weeks, but she contacted us today and said that she has not been doing well. She has Lyme disease and she's very ill. And we're going because she wants to sell her house. And she's a single mom and she just can't get everything, all the things done that you need to do when you need to sell a house. And she is ill. She has a chronic illness and she just can't do it. So we wanted to go and give her a hand, So, but she says she's not doing so well. So I don't know if we're going to wind up staying 2 weeks. If she's not well, then it might be better for us if we left early. It might be better for her if we left early and came home so that she has more opportunity to rest. Because we are taking 3 young boys with us. My 3 youngest boys are 10, 13, and 15, and they are high energy. And these boys have, they've been through a lot, and I'm not going to punish them for having high energy because it's a part of their trauma. They were taken away from their parents in Ukraine because their parents were very abusive and neglectful. And they abandoned the boys over and over. So I'm not going to punish them for being high energy, but it is a lot to handle. And, it's high energy in the way that only surly teenagers can be high energy, if you know what I mean. If you have surly teenagers at home, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have done the surly teenager thing 3 times already. I have 3 older kids. And yeah. not enjoying this early teenager experience the fourth, fifth, and sixth time around nearly as much as I did the first, second, and third time around. Just checking to see if there's any new comments. There isn't. You guys are also quiet. Whoops. One of my clips just made a bid for freedom. It's gone somewhere. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to have some easing to do because I have a little tiny bit of extra right there. It will be fine. It will be fine. We can do this. It's all going to work out. You know, when things are cut on the curve and yeah, stretches out, things like that. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Let me just see if I can ease some of it now before I start sewing. You know, I thought I had made such a shrewd purchase with that off-brand SF101 like interfacing, but it is coming unstuck from my lining fabric. So it's telling me that it's cheap stuff and the adhesive is not good quality. It's a good thing most of it's already sewn in. Otherwise, it would be very, very frustrating to have the lining sliding around. But now I have a 10-meter roll of that interfacing that I have to use up before I can buy something more quality. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the extension table off of my Juki, and I'm going to sew around like what you would do with a sleeve. Okay, here we go. And here you just want to edge stitch around the top. And you want to do it as top stitching, so I'm increasing my stitch length to 3.5. I need a pokey thing. Tweezers. must be time to go take some more cough medicine. All right. That's it, done. So this is the medium size Faithwell storage bin. And there's the interior. I like a white inside of things like this and inside bags so that I can see what's inside there. It helps with the light. All right, so you could give it a good press and set it up for, I mean, you could put a plant arrangement in here. You could, but I need to store fabrics and things. And so this is the medium size one. And next I'm going to make the large one, but not tonight. I think I'm going to call it a night now that it's after 9 o'clock my time, and I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to drive to England tomorrow. So I'm going to call it a night here. Thank you for joining me on my very first live stream. And if you haven't already, go and download the Faithwell storage bin pattern. It's a good one. I highly recommend it. It's super easy. And when I get back from England, I will schedule another live stream and we could do the large one together if you want to. All right. Thank you for joining me, and everybody have a wonderful weekend and a happy holiday. Bye.